Good evening. I'm Adrien Sala, and you're listening to WikiSleep YouTube. If you're enjoying our channel but hate the ads, all of our episodes are available ad-free through our WikiSleep app, which you can find easily by clicking the links below or visiting wikisleep.com. The app has more unique sleep support, including meditations, breath work, ambient sounds, white noise, exclusive episodes, and so much more. It's available entirely ad-free, and you can download it for free by visiting wikisleep.com. There's a free trial to give it a test drive to see if it's the right fit for you, and then it's only an investment of $1.50 a week for better sleep. It's a quick, simple, and inexpensive way to invest in your sleep hygiene and sleep health. As we begin, I recommend taking a moment to get comfortable. Then take a few long, deep breaths and settle in for this calm, interesting, but quiet story. And one last note, no need to smash that like button. You can simply, gently, sleepily click it and subscribe. And don't forget while you're doing that to add notifications as well so you never miss an episode. Thank you, and I wish you a happy, restful sleep in whatever way works best for you. Good evening. I'm your host, Adrien Sala. Take a deep breath and get settled for today's episode on Chadwick Boseman, an American actor, writer, director, and activist whose relatively short career included 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, a Golden Globe Award, a Critics' Choice Movie Award, and a Primetime Emmy Award, among other accolades. He was also nominated for an Academy Award. Boseman was born and raised in Anderson, South Carolina. His mother, Carolyn, was a nurse, and his father, Leroy, worked at a textile factory and managed an upholstery business. He was raised a Christian and was part of a church choir and youth group. He also studied Hebrew and had a good knowledge of both the Old Testament and New Testament. According to Boseman himself, DNA testing indicated that some of his ancestors were Creole and Limba people from Sierra Leone, and Yoruba people from Nigeria. In his youth, Boseman practiced martial arts, something he continued doing as an adult. He graduated from T.L. Hanna High School in 1995, where he played on the basketball team. In his junior year there, he wrote his first play, Crossroads, and staged it at the school after a classmate had been shot and killed. He competed in the National Speech and Debate Association at TL Hanna, and he placed 8th in original oratory at the 1995 national tournament. He was recruited to play basketball at college, but chose the arts instead, attending college at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and graduating in 2000 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in directing. While at Howard, he worked in an African American-oriented bookstore near the university, which friend Vanessa German said was important and inspirational to him. He drew on his experience there for his play Hieroglyphic Graffiti. His teachers at Howard included Al Freeman Jr. and Fasila Rashad, who became a mentor. At the time, Boseman and some other classmates had been accepted to attend the Oxford Summer Program of the British America Drama Assembly at Balliol College, Oxford, in England. Unfortunately, he was unable to afford it, so Rashad helped raise funds, notably from her friend and prominent actor, Denzel Washington. Boseman's first passion was writing and directing, and he initially only began studying acting to learn how to relate to actors. He attended the Oxford program in 1998 and developed an appreciation for the playwriting of William Shakespeare. Additionally, he studied the works of various dramatists, including Samuel Beckett and Harold Pinter. He also traveled to Africa for the first time while at college, working in Ghana with his professor, Mike Malone, to preserve and celebrate rituals with performances on a proscenium stage. He later said it was one of the most significant learning experiences of his life. After he returned to the United States, he took additional coursework in film studies, graduating from New York City's Digital Film Academy. At the start of his career, he lived in Brooklyn, and in 2000, he was named a Drama League Directing Fellow. He directed productions including George C. Wolfe's The Colored Museum and a staging of Amiri Baraka's Dutchman. At the same time, he worked as the drama instructor in the Schoenberg Junior Scholars Program, housed at the Schoenberg Center for Research in Black Culture in Harlem. He rose to prominence as a playwright and stage actor in 2002, performing in multiple productions and winning an Adelco Award for his part in Ron Milner's Urban Transitions. As a member of the National Shakespeare Company of New York, he played Romeo in Romeo and Juliet and Malcolm in Macbeth. He also directed and wrote plays as part of the hip-hop theater movement. His works included Rhyme Deferred, co-written with classmate Kamala Forbes, in which he also performed, and Hieroglyphic Graffiti. Rhyme Deferred was commissioned for a national tour, as well as featuring in the Fire This Time anthology of works, while Hieroglyphic Graffiti was produced at a variety of locations, including the National Black Theatre Festival in 2001. In 2003, Boseman was cast in his first television role, an episode of Third Watch, and began playing Reggie Montgomery in the daytime soap opera All My Children. But he was fired from All My Children after voicing concerns to producers about racist stereotypes in the script. Boseman had wanted to work around the stereotypes of the character, feeling that being in a soap opera would give him more room for improvisation, as the writers often don't initially plan a full story. His then future agent said that when Boseman was given the second script and learned that his character's parents were a drug addict and an absent father, he confronted the creators. He reflected on the experience in his 2018 commencement address to Howard University, saying that it seemed to be wrapped up in assumptions about us black folks, and he would have to make something out of nothing. The role was subsequently recast, with Boseman's future Black Panther co-star, Michael B. Jordan, taking the part. His other early television work included episodes of the series Law & Order, Cold Case, CSI-NY, and ER. Boseman's best-known play, Deep Azure, was commissioned in 2004 by the Congo Square Theatre Company in Chicago, and it was nominated for a 2006 Jeff Award for Best New Work. The play, about police brutality, a daring subject in 2004 and largely delivered in rhyme, was workshopped at the Apollo Theater in New York. Drama critic Chris Jones in the Chicago Tribune highly praised the work. In 2008, Boseman turned Deep Azure into a screenplay. Michael Green picked it up and contacted Boseman when Tessa Thompson and Amari Hardwick expressed interest in playing the lead roles, which prompted him to move to Los Angeles. During the same time, he also directed, wrote, and produced the short film Blood Over a Broken Pond, which was honored at the 2008 Hollywood Black Film Festival. After moving to LA, he was cast in a recurring role in the television series Lincoln Heights as Nathaniel Ray Taylor, an Army veteran with PTSD who was later revealed to be the son of the main character before re-enlisting. Also in 2008, he appeared in his first feature film, The Express, the Ernie Davis story, as running back Floyd Little. Boseman's breakthrough role came in 2013 with the film 42, in which he portrayed the lead role of baseball legend Jackie Robinson. He had been directing an off-Broadway play in the East Village when he auditioned for the role, and was considering giving up acting to pursue directing full-time. About 25 other actors had been seriously considered for the part, but director Brian Helgeland liked Boseman's bravery in choosing to read the most difficult scene, in which Robinson goes down a stadium tunnel and breaks a bat in anger. Part of the audition process also involved playing baseball. Boseman had been involved with Little League as a child, but was primarily a basketball player growing up, saying that, in this part, the casting directors likely noticed his athleticism rather than specifically his baseball skills. To replicate Robinson's mannerisms, Boseman trained for 5 months with professional baseball coaches, who would tape his practices every few weeks and then split screen his technique with Robinson's to allow him to compare. Robinson's widow, Rachel Robinson, commented that Boseman's performance was like seeing her husband again. Critics, even those who viewed the film negatively, felt that Boseman, being a relatively unknown actor, was a benefit when playing an icon and an athlete. In 2013, he had workshopped the Tupac Shakur jukebox musical, If You Hear Me, but didn't continue to Broadway with it in order to take the role of James Brown in 2014's Get On Up. As Brown, Boseman did some singing and all of his own dancing, working with choreographer Accolades Jones for 5 to 8 hours a day over 2 months in preparation. Producer Mick Jagger also directed him on interacting with audiences when performing live music. Co-star Dan Aykroyd, who had known Brown, praised Bowman's performance, saying that it was neither replication nor impression, and that he didn't have to squint sitting across from him to imagine that he was talking to Brown. His performance was praised as the highlight of an also good movie, with the Rotten Tomatoes critical consensus reading. With an unforgettable Chadwick Boseman in the starring role, Get On Up offers the Godfather of Soul a fittingly dynamic homage. In 2014, Boseman sold a thriller screenplay to Universal Pictures, which he continued to collaborate on with creative partner Logan Coles, and planned to star in, and told The Guardian that he still wanted to be a director but would explore his acting career first, adding that, "Maybe it'll be easier if you're a successful actor." In 2016, he starred as Thoth, a deity from Egyptian mythology in Gods of Egypt. Boseman was one of the few actors of color featured in the film, which had drawn criticism for using a predominantly white cast to portray Egyptian characters. The Independent reported that Boseman shook his head while telling GQ in an interview that people don't make $140 million movies starring black and brown people. Boseman said this had motivated him to accept the role to ensure one of the film's African characters would be played by someone of African descent. It was his first largely CGI film, and he expressed that he preferred acting alongside people than with blue screens and prop stand-ins. In 2016, Boseman began portraying the Marvel Comics character Sala, Black Panther, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Captain America: Civil War was his first film in a 5-picture deal with Marvel Entertainment. He didn't audition for the role. Instead, he had a discussion about what Marvel wanted to do and how he saw it and what he wanted to do. While working on Civil War, Boseman learned some Xhosa and Nguni language in one of the official languages of South Africa and Zimbabwe from John Canny, who played his father. He insisted on using the language for the character. Boseman also developed a Wakandan accent himself and used it during the entire production, whether he was on camera or not. He then appeared as the Black Panther in 2018 in the Black Panther movie, which focused on the character in his home country of Wakanda in Africa. The film opened to great anticipation, becoming one of the highest-grossing films ever. The role earned Boseman a spot on the 2018 Time 100 as one of the world's most influential people, with Sean Combs writing his entry. It is seen as a landmark in being the first mega-budget movie to have a predominantly black cast and director, as well as the first superhero film to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. He reprised the role in both Avengers: Infinity War and Avengers: Endgame. Both films were the highest grossing of the year they were released, with Endgame going on to become the highest grossing film of all time. Infinity War was filmed at the same time as Black Panther, and Boseman and other actors playing Wakandan characters improvised chanting scenes in the former that originated in the latter. In 2019, he starred in 21 Bridges, an American action thriller film directed by Brian Kirk as an NYPD detective who shuts down the eponymous 21 Bridges of Manhattan to find 2 suspected cop killers. Boseman was also a producer on 21 Bridges. All of the film's characters were originally conceived as male and white, with Boseman encouraging amendments to this and other parts of the story. In his capacity as producer, Boseman sought out Sienna Miller to be his co-star. Miller, who was intending to take a break from acting while her daughter was young, asked for a salary that the studio wouldn't meet. So Boseman donated the rest from his own pay. In 2019, Boseman was announced as part of the cast for the films *Da 5 Bloods*, directed by Spike Lee, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, directed by George C. Wolfe. He took these roles for opportunities to work with Lee and with Ma Rainey producer Denzel Washington. Spike Lee, in choosing Boseman for the divine-like character of Stormin' Norman, said, "This character is heroic. He's a superhero. Who do we cast? We cast Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, and we cast Sala." The film Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, in which Boseman co-stars as trumpeter Levy, was also released in 2020. Its director, Wolfe, said that Boseman was excited by the role for the challenge it posed, saying that it's a monster role and it's a thrilling role. It's a difficult role. All of those things are exhilarating for an actor, and Boseman rose to the occasion and more than delivered. In 2015, Boseman began dating singer Taylor Simone Ledward. The two reportedly got engaged in October 2019, and they later married in secret. Outside of performing, Boseman supported various charities. He worked with cancer charities including St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, continuing to support those battling the disease up until his own death from it. In a message to a producer days before he died, Boseman inquired about sending gifts to childhood cancer patients. He donated $10,000 to the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem to provide free tickets for children who wanted to see Black Panther. He did this to support and promote the Black Panther Challenge started by a New Yorker to raise money for similar children across the country. In response, Disney donated $1 million to the Boys and Girls Club to advance its STEM programs. Boseman also advocated for children's charities, with the Jackie Robinson Foundation noting after his death that he helped people with their youth outreach. In April 2020, he donated $4.2 million in personal protective equipment to hospitals fighting the COVID-19 pandemic in Black communities, starting his own Operation 42 challenge to encourage others to do the same. In politics, he supported the When We All Vote campaign, and his last tweet before his death was congratulating Kamala Harris on her selection as Joe Biden's vice presidential nominee. In 2016, Boseman was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, which eventually progressed to stage 4 before 2020. He never spoke publicly about his diagnosis, and according to The Hollywood Reporter, only a handful of non-family members knew that he was sick, with varying degrees of knowledge about the severity of his condition. During treatment, involving multiple surgeries and chemotherapy, he continued to work and completed production for several films, including Marshall, The Five Bloods, Ma Rainey, and others. On August 28, 2020, Chadwick Boseman died at his Los Angeles home as a result of complications related to colon cancer, with his wife and family by his side. A public memorial service was held on September 4th in Anderson, South Carolina, where the speakers included Boseman's childhood pastor, as well as Deanna Brown Thomas, daughter of James Brown. The city announced plans for the creation of a permanent art memorial at the service. Actor, director, writer, and activist, Chadwick Boseman was just 43 years old when he died.